My name is Maha Khawaja. I'm originally from Pakistan, actually. I was brought up in Saudi Arabia. I've been there for the first 16 years of my life, and then we moved here. I mean, I think in the middle when the Gulf War happened, I moved to Pakistan for like a year during the Gulf War, but we came back. And yeah, I've been here for 6 years, so...
And tell me anything else about your life or...
Well, it's very different for me because I haven't been brought up in Pakistan, which is very different culturally speaking. I mean, the way they practice a lot of things, their rituals, even during simple things like marriage, are very, very different. So my mom has basically created an environment for us that was very not sheltered. We knew everything about the outside world. She made it a point to show us that this is what the world is outside, and these are the choices you have to make. So but on the other side, she had a very intellectual environment for us. So I think I'm pretty lucky that way, that I wasn't raised as any regular Pakistani. Not that I'm saying anything is wrong with them, but still, I got I think, a better insight at how the world works than they do.
Has your faith changed over, since you were a child to today?
Yes, it has. For some weird reason, I think in our culture, I mean, parents have it's kind of a bad habit of like telling you this is what you should do without explaining why. You know, that it's the right thing to do. But as a child, you're curious why. And I was a very curious child. I mean, I wanted a why for everything, you know, I mean, why am I doing this or why am I not doing this? So for me, in the beginning, religion was more like I'm just following what my mom is saying, or I'm just following whatever the book says, you know? But I think when I moved here is when I really matured and I really began to sort of understand the reasons why I was doing what I was doing. And in Saudi Arabia, you're supposed, I'll give you a small example. In Saudi Arabia, everyone is mandatory to wear a hijab and whatever. So when we came here, my mom actually forced me to take it off for like 3 days. And she's, sorry.
Okay.
Mama, I'll call you back. So in Saudi Arabia, it's mandatory for you to wear this. So when we came here, she forced me to take it off for like 3 days, and she's like, now you know what it's like, so you make your own choice now, you know, because it's not mandatory here. I'm not going to force you to do something. It's your choice. It was that point that kind of made me started to think, why I'm doing the things I'm doing, or in religion, why I do things, or why I'm following this religion in the first place. So I think I've really changed from that point forward.
Tell me about that experience. What were those 3 days like?
It was initially, the first day, I felt, I don't mean to be like offensive, but I felt naked, okay, because I'm wearing clothes, but I wasn't wearing an abaya and a scarf, and I really felt like exposed, you know? Maybe probably because I wasn't used to it, and that's probably why she gave me 3 to 4 days, you know? So I really felt uneasy. The second day, I kind of, I was starting to feel comfortable, a little shy. By the third day, I was like in my element, you know. I was very comfortable. I was having fun. There was a party to attend, so usually, of course, you're not allowed to dance in public. And my mom just pushed me, and I was like, okay, my mom's gone crazy. So I was like, oh well, let's just enjoy it. But it was the fourth day that I kind of realized, okay, it was fun, but then I really have to think about what I want to do for the rest of my life. I mean, do I want to just continue having fun like this? It was really tempting. It was very tempting. I have to say it wasn't an easy decision. And I was, 6 years ago, I was probably, 17, 18? So it was a really hard decision for me to make. And I was happy with the decision I made later. I mean, I think a week I was moping around, thinking, no, I shouldn't, I don't want to, but it's the right thing to do, but why do I have to do it? This is all going through my head. But in the end, there was a sort of a calmness with me, because at the end of the day, it was who I was. Not because my mom forced me to, but it was a part of me, as in the person I was. My character, my nature, so.
So how long was it before you then put back on the hijab and abaya?
A week or two.
And are you married or?
No, I'm not. I'm single.
Okay, so this really was a decision for you,
yeah.
by yourself, not with a partner, and.
No, not at all. It was she told me that's your own decision. Nobody's gonna influence you, not your father, not your mother, not your brother, no one. So that's why it was really hard, because I was so used to being told what to do, and it was really hard because now I just have to tell myself what to do. So that was the turning point. That's when I really became someone, you know, a kid just following a religion blindly, to someone who actually chose to follow a religion. In this particular country, it's harder to wear the hijab and the abaya because not everybody wears it. And it's not like everybody has to wear it. And especially when you're in a social situation, it's very hard to adapt. I know a lot of girls who they take the decision to wear it, but they just can't take the pressure and they end up taking it off later. Or some girls who are afraid that they don't want to start wearing it in the first place because they know that they might take it off later due to, you know, so much social pressure. And that's what was really hard. I think I'm very proud of myself in that sense, which made me stronger because I actually overcame all of that. I overcame the fact with people maybe not intentionally tempting me, but unintentionally. I mean, you know, you're out with a bunch of friends and they're going out to a club or something, and you can't go in. You're not allowed to go in, you know. So it has its drawbacks. You know, your social life will sort of suffer, but then it's the way you look at it. And me personally, I found other things to make me happy, and I think that it wasn't such a big deal that I couldn't go into a club. I mean, my friends outside were just as happy, but it took a lot of time. I mean, I'm 20, how old am I? I'm 24 now, and I'm turning 25, but when I was 18, 19, you know how it is with teenagers, it was hard to deal with, but I think that made me stronger in the end. This was one of the major times, moving here and dealing with a lot of people here. It's a different scenario altogether socially. It's a different society. It's different societal norms. It was very tough for me because, you know, you kind of, especially as a teenager, you question yourself, you know, why am I doing this? You know, I could be out there having fun, and it's really tough how you sort of go around this and make yourself understand and come to a point where, you know, you have to tell yourself that, okay, you can either do this or you can do this. Okay, it's your choice. It comes down to a choice, and making that choice is really, really hard. So there were a lot of times where I asked myself, you know, why am I doing this? But then again, it was something my mom told me that sort of helped me out. She said that, look, the reason why you're in doubt is because you don't have enough knowledge. Go look up your own religion. Read about it. If you have doubts, find your answers. If you can't find your answers, then you should have serious doubt. And actually that made sense to me. So I'm like, okay, before you doubt something, you might as well learn about it. So I think that kind of solved a lot of my problems. I know that I have a higher calling. I just don't know what it is yet. I hope I have a higher calling, because I think that I have a lot to give to the world. So hopefully, here's hoping. I'm most grateful for, okay, this is the whole nature versus nurture argument. I don't know if it's through my mother or that I got it biologically, but I'm really grateful for the fact that I'm a very understanding and reasonable person. I mean, there isn't any situation that a person can pose to me that I wouldn't understand their situation, or that I wouldn't be tolerant to their behavior. I'm a very, very open-minded person, and I'm actually very thankful for that, because you can take that for granted, but when you meet a lot of people and they're not open-minded, and you just kind of think, you know, I'm glad that I'm very open-minded. So I'm very grateful for that, and I'm very grateful for my mom to keeping me open-minded. My greatest wish will never come true, okay? Because, I don't know, I guess I sort of have lost faith in humanity somewhere along the line. But my greatest wish is that people are more tolerant to one another. It's just really crazy the way things are in the world today. whether you look at it religious-wise or whether you look at in terms of racial issues, or forget all of that, just down to a single person treating another person, I really wish they had more understanding and tolerance to one another, because when it comes down to it, that's all there is. If you have just even an ounce of more tolerance and understanding, it would really be, don't mind the cliche, but a better place to live in. So.
Do you feel like you ever treated people inappropriately or in a way that you regret?
No, actually, never in my life have I ever been rude to anyone or been unjust to anyone. I mean, probably unknowingly, maybe if I hurt someone's feelings, that's something, I've always apologized for it, but I've always been respectful for, if someone is some other religion, I've been respectful towards their religion. I mean, I met this girl who was a Muslim, but she was a Shia, and there's a lot of tension, supposedly, between Sunnis and Shias, and they're supposed to not like each other. Supposed to, I don't know. So, and she comes up to me one day and tells me that it's written in the Quran that out of the 73 sects within Islam, only one is correct, and I wanted to tell you to rethink yours. And anybody else would have gotten offended by that. I didn't, and I told her, I'm very thankful for you telling me, and I would like to tell you the same. And she respected me for that. But it was a situation that could have been a potential war zone. But I didn't get offended. And that's why I don't think I've ever offended anybody. When we moved here, my family went through a lot of issues that were too big for even me. I mean, I was still a kid when we moved here. I was just barely 16, and all of a sudden it's as if I was living such a sheltered life and the world just pulled back its cruel curtains, so to speak. I'm a copywriter, sorry. So, I mean, my family went through a lot of troubles. I mean, we went through financial troubles, we went through family issues, and it was just, everything happened at the same time, and I couldn't do anything, and I really, that's the one time where I realized that, at the end of the day, no matter how many friends you have, no matter how many family members you have, you're all alone in the end. And that's when something my mom used to tell me when I was a kid actually made sense. When she said that Allah is always there for you. He's the one that created you. He's the one that knows you best. He's the one that will always be there for you. And I remember one particular night when I was praying and I was just crying, and I was thinking that, I feel so alone. And that's the one time when it hit me that, and I just said out, you're the only one I have, and I can't do anything. I'm helpless. And you're the only one that can fix this. And after that, I just felt, if not my problems were solved, they weren't at the time, but I felt peace. I felt that I could have patience. I felt that I got strength. So, yeah, that was one of the times that I really, really needed him. It's funny how when you go through troubles, you really need him, or, God, in whichever religion. It's funny how people only think of God during troubled times, but it's true. I mean, that's the time when you feel most vulnerable. I graduated, because I've had a very troubled academic life as well, in the sense, I mean, I wanted to go someplace else, but I ended up someplace else, and from there I ended up someplace else. So it's like what I actually wanted from life, I thought that I wasn't getting, and I was really depressed that, I wanted to be a writer, but I wanted to do literature and bachelor's, and it just didn't happen. And I was extremely sort of, like, none of my dreams are coming true kind of phase. And then, I ended up in a university that wasn't even accredited, so I was really like, like, life isn't treating me fair, And all of a sudden, from that non-accredited university, I just entered the international media competition, and I actually won. And I was just, oh my God, and I just couldn't thank him enough, because it just it was as if, for 2, 3, 4 years, I was like, all bottled up, and I was like, I'm not getting all my dreams coming true, and all of a sudden everything just popped, And from that award function, I got a job here, because the award was 2-week internship in Leo Burnett, and from there they hired me. So it completely changed my life, and I can't stop thanking you for that, because it's like he's saying, you know, for 3-4 years you were complaining and complaining, and you know, you could have been just patient. I had something in store for you, you know.